callers, staff, management, or sponsors. AMP2.tv presents Tell Us Your Business, where you're invited on the air to tell us what makes your business stand out in the community. It's important we hear from you to tell us all we need to know about what you do best. Tell Us Your Business uses the latest radio and television production systems, and all shows can be seen on AMP2.tv. If you have a question for our guest, call 888-565-1470. Now, let's get ready as our guest hits the airwaves and informs us about what we need to know on Tell Us Your Business.
And as Freddie would say, welcome to Tell Us Your Biz. It's actually Brooklyn Cafe Show after hours. A little bit of Tell Us Your Biz live tonight on WWNN Radio 95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, and 1470 AM. Energy enough for you? No.
That was like a wannabe make-believe.
Well, only you can do it the way you do it. Welcome, everyone. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. A brand new guest, the Florida Intergenerational Orchestra, joining us. We also have some giveaways. So you heard our disclaimer before the show. We are live on WNN and live streaming, AMP Media Productions.
What are we giving away?
I think tonight we should give away two VIP tickets. How about that?
Two VIP tickets.
Two VIP tickets to the Florida Intergenerational Orchestra show, December 12th at Our Lady of Lourdes in West Boca Raton. It is right on the corner of Palmetto Park Road and Lyons. It is going to be spectacular. So you want to give us a call, 888-565-1470. Say hi to Dan. Tell Dan to patch you through. Let us know how music has positively impacted your life. We got to hear a little bit of your story this week, which was great.
And we get to give away 2 bags of coffee if they call today.
Coffee. I don't know.
2 bags of coffee.
Lorraine's sister is going to be watching because she loves the Brooklyn Cafe Show coffee.
Definitely.
We're going to change the spelling of it. It's Coughy.
Oh, that's interesting. I was spelling it Kawfee.
Oh,
I was
we could do
spelling it that
too.
way, yeah.
How do you spell coffee?
CAFE.
Oh, that's cute.
I'm excited because I had the pleasure of chit-chatting with Lorraine while we were in the green room when you were doing the other show, and I got to learn so much amazing information. I've always been intrigued when I would go to Broadway as a kid, and we'd sit in the front couple rows and to see the orchestra pit. And I'd be like, wow, like I could see being on stage and doing what we do theatrically, but to actually be in the pit and that conductor baton, because, me, it's all about my wands, right? So you kind of have your own magic wand and your baton.
That's it.
What it's like to be a conductor, a female conductor. So before we get into the orchestra, let's backtrack on who you are and how you became this female conductor, this beautiful blonde female conductor.
Woohoo! Thank you. Well, I started out as a very young child playing my viola, very shy. They would never believe who I am today talking here on a radio show. So, very shy, and it was the music that really brought me out. And at the age of 14, I played with musicians that were well into their 70s. And then that brought me into a career of music. And then trying to, after graduating college, to teach students and bring together all the ages because of my remembrance of what influenced me. But being a female conductor is not an easy thing to achieve. You know that the greatest longevity of a person's career is orchestra conductors. Nobody ever leaves their job. If you become an orchestra conductor, you do that for the rest of your life.
Really?
And you can cite people like Arthur Fiedler, who conducted well into his 80s, and Stokowski, and a number of conductors. They never leave their position. So it's very difficult to find a position as a conductor, and especially as a woman. So as I was getting into my career, they give you a critique as you're studying and learning to be a conductor. And somebody said to me, Lorraine, step up to the podium like a man and tie your hair back because it's blonde and put on an outfit all the way up to your neck because I would never hire you as a conductor. You're much too distracting. So I said to myself, oh, that didn't sound too good. So then another person said to me, Lorraine, leave your femininity in your conducting. And you do that, you'll be yourself and you'll enjoy your career. And that's what I did. So you see me with my blonde hair and my sparkles,
and your shoes
and my
that
gown.
don't match and your sparkles. And it's amazing.
And my short sleeves. Somebody said don't wear sleeveless dresses, but I am myself and I'm comfortable when I'm conducting that way.
Right, you have to. You're using your arms, which is, I get it, right? You want to be comfortable in your own skin.
That's right.
What's the training, though, to become a conductor?
Well, actually, you go to college and you take conducting classes, but the greatest training is out there actually doing it in an internship or as a having a mentor. My mentor, I had a couple of mentors. One of my most important mentors was Oscar Ravina with the New York Philharmonic, and he had the Montclair Chamber Ensemble in Montclair, New Jersey. I went to Montclair University, so he used to come to my rehearsals and coach me. So you get coaching like you would in any other kind of endeavor, and mentorship was very important to me, to have these other conductors tell me, show me what to do, and mimic them. There's a very interesting way of conducting. There's not just one way of doing things. There's multi ways of achieving different effects from an orchestra.
What's it feel like to get in front of your orchestra and you are it, right? You are this point person with your magical, but with your baton. Are you conducting? Are you giving them the ebb and the flow, or do they pretty much know where they are and you're listening and trying to keep the balance?
Well, that's a good comment that you have right there, because people say, well, what does an orchestra conductor do? And sometimes I just simplify it and I say, oh, we get the beginning, we get everybody started together, and we end together. Because if you didn't know and have somebody in front of you when to begin, everybody would just start at a different time. So there's a lot of nuance to it besides, the conducting, and there's the interpretation of the music, how loud, how soft. So those are all gestures and arm and hand signals that I give to the orchestra, and it's actually a really beautiful thing. Like you're talking about magical, it feels like
so
magic when you're up there
fascinating.
combining the sounds. And I have supersonic ears. I have ears that I can hear if somebody's playing out of tune or not playing the right notes. I don't, for some reason, I just can hone in on that.
Music talks. You remember Fantasia with Mickey Mouse, and Mickey Mouse would get up there, right? And all his hat and his magical conducting baton, and he would control this whole orchestra and animation. And I feel like this is what you get to do. But what you get to do, this is so amazing, the Florida Intergenerational Orchestra. Let's talk about it, because you're located right here in Boca, 16 years. So I think you are definitely the best kept secret, that it's time to let the secret out,
Yeah.
to let everybody know about what you do. Explain a little bit about what this orchestra does.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity for me to do that, because being on a radio program is important, and having more people find out about us in various ways. But, like you said, we are the best kept secret, so it's time to spread our wings. For me to start as the founder and the conductor of the orchestra, I think I've been spending most of my time on the aspect of the orchestra and creating the orchestra itself. But it's time, over time, probably, to get out into the community, and that's what I need to do, and that's why I'm here.
The ages, though, of the orchestra, this you have to listen to. Give us a call, because this is amazing to me. 888-565-1470. You have the ages of 15 to 90 years old in one orchestra.
That's right.
And in my mind, this is this incredible opportunity of cross-mentoring.
Yes.
The young get to teach the older have their experience to teach the younger, and it's a win-win. It's a learning experience for everyone immersed in music.
Yes. What's interesting about it, we have people from all walks of life, from all backgrounds. We have students that have special needs. We have students that are homeschooled, and they don't have school orchestras or programs to be in. So this orchestra really satisfies a lot of needs in the community for music. And what I like to say about the orchestra, we are also healthy aging through music, and we're a mentorship program. But what I like to say about healthy aging through music, it could be at any age, because I feel that music enhances children's education when they're a part of an orchestra. I always say that the finest children are always in the music programs, in the band or the orchestra, and we have some really terrific students in this orchestra, along with the adults, that really work well together.
Because the arts are so important, and unfortunately, our school system is losing some of the arts, music, art, the creative process of what it is, to give people a chance to just get in or out of their head and do what works best. Art, painting, music, and what you get to do in this orchestra. You've come down from New York and created this, because you had another orchestra up north.
Right. It was actually in New Jersey. and it was called the New Jersey Intergenerational Orchestra. But it's funny that you say that I came down here. Yeah, I decided when I came down here to teach that I was going to start another orchestra. But originally my intention was our orchestra is called Florida Intergenerational Orchestra of America. So then there was a New Jersey Intergenerational Orchestra that I started. So I'm thinking that maybe in every state there could be an orchestra. So I have this Intergenerational Orchestras of America idea still behind myself that I feel like there could be one in every state.
That's a
And
great
even in New
idea.
Jersey, I had 3 in New Jersey at one time. I had one in Princeton, one in Lakewood, New Jersey, and one in Cranford, New Jersey. When I first started my orchestra, I had satellite orchestras in the New Jersey because it was such a long and diverse state. So it was kind of interesting. But down here, I feel when I talk about my orchestra, I like to call it a destination orchestra because people come down to Florida. We have snowbirds and people that come to visit, tourists, and they come to visit my orchestra. And some of them are very intrigued and interested in it. And when people decide to come to a community to find a place to live, many of them that are musicians, they want to live somewhere where there's an orchestra available. Like, where can I join an orchestra or a band or a chorus? Well, here in Boca now we have this Florida Intergenerational Orchestra. So it's very interesting to see people come and visit me, and then later on they move here. I've seen that happen many times.
A
It's very
destination.
gratifying.
I got a question. You've been doing this a pretty long time, and music has different meanings for everybody. I mean, you go from 15 to 90, and it's not the same for everybody along that path. You've been doing this such a long time. You have to explain to me what it means to you today, because before the pandemic, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, however, because you've been involved in music in such a long time, what does it mean to you today to put this thing together and it come forward? How does it make you feel?
Well, I do this because I love what I do. I don't really make a lot of money out of it. It's a 501c3, but I just do this because everybody has a mission in life or something that compels them. And I think music is the best way for me to communicate to other people. Like I was mentioning to you earlier that I was so shy. I could hardly even look at anybody else in the eye. And music is such a beautiful way to bring me out. And I've done this for a number of students also. We had one student that came at the age of 9 to our orchestra. She was homeschooled, and she was also on the spectrum. And so I've seen that now she's going to college and got a scholarship and playing her instrument. And she's, along the way, developed herself into such a fine young lady. It makes me so proud. So this orchestra, means a lot to many of the people. And during the pandemic, you're going backwards and saying to me, like, in 10 years, 20 years, well, if I didn't go back too far, just during the pandemic, everybody was missing my orchestra. We had a couple of Zooms, but the Zoom wasn't as satisfying as getting together in person. But that's the way I kept everybody together during the pandemic. So for me, this orchestra is very meaningful, and it's something that's, I guess we call a labor of love. And that's
How
why I
often
do
do you
it.
meet to practice?
Good question. We meet on Thursday evenings, and can I say where we rehearse?
Sure.
We rehearse at Edgewater at Boca Point, which is an assisted and independent living community. And what's really remarkable about this orchestra, on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, we all come together, and the audience comes in there. We have an audience for rehearsals, which is kind of unusual. And most orchestras wouldn't let week after week an audience come in, but we have this audience that lives at the Edgewater Point Estates, and they just love it. We engage them. We give them sometimes rhythm instruments, or I turn around and ask them questions about the music, or I ask them if we're improving. And it's really nice to have that energy behind me, not just only the orchestra. So I get to look at this program from two sides, looking at the orchestra and then turning around and looking at an intergenerational or a very healthy way of motivating a person to listen to music. So it's really gratifying to do
Bob
this.
was saying the show that we just finished here, what music does for your mind. So when you're dealing with dementia or memory loss, music always comes back, right? It always triggers that positive memory. And that's what you get to do at Edgewater while you're practicing. For you, it's practice. For the residents and people that are living there, this brings back memories. It brings
Yes.
back something positive about their youth and see where they're at. I want to bring Bob into the conversation because Bob has been playing our keyboard in the studio the past couple times. You've been at the cafe, which has been such a gift. We have a piano there, and to hear it actually played as beautifully as you get to. So that is a gift.
Thank you.
Bob is your husband, but Bob also started with you as in the orchestra.
Yes, I'm the pianist in the orchestra.
We don't let Freddie say that word.
Freddie, say pianist.
No, we don't. It's like
Peanut.
it's like peanuts. There are certain words we don't let that we don't let Freddie say.
Bob, you're also the manager of the
Yeah,
orchestra.
I'm also the manager
He
of
does
the
a lot.
orchestra,
What brought you to the orchestra?
Lorraine. But actually, I was a public defender for 33 years in the state of Connecticut, and I was trying very serious murder cases, death penalty cases, sexual assault cases, robberies. And when I retired, actually before I retired, when I'd get home, I would play music on the piano and I'd write music. And it was a way of cleansing my head of everything else that I'd been through all day, because if there's anything that man could do to another man, I'd seen it, and it was tough. I believe someone said that being a public defender is the second hardest job in the United States, other than an air traffic controller. So I can understand that it's not a job where you get a lot of thanks. Your client usually thinks they got a jail sentence that they shouldn't have gotten. The prosecutors are always mad at you because you've held up their cases. The judges are mad because they want to move the dockets. The victims' families want to kill you. So it's just it's a tough job. So I used music to calm myself down. And when I retired, I decided to move to Florida. And that's because as a kid, my parents would come to Florida, and to me, that was like a joyful place. So I came to Florida, and I thought maybe I'd teach law. But there are so many used-to-be lawyers around that I was having a hard time finding a job doing that. So I actually was looking for something else to do. And I heard about Lorraine's orchestra, and I sat down at the piano, and she said, "Okay, you can be the pianist."
And the rest is history. Tell us about the concert you have coming up on December 12th, because I want to bring awareness to that, where people can get tickets. And yes, we're giving away 2 free VIP tickets tonight right here on After Hours, 888-565-1470. But people can get tickets. It's an open venue, free for children under 12, $15 for an adult ticket. What is the premise behind the concert?
Well, it's Home for the Holidays, so the focus on Home for the Holidays is probably holiday music. But the orchestra is also eclectic, I guess we call it, the most eclectic orchestra in the state. So we play other things other than holiday music. We're fortunate enough that Elmar Oliveira, who is a fabulous violinist.
He teaches at Lynn University. Actually, Lynn Conservatory has 2 fabulous students.
Yeah, he's providing us with 2 of his fabulous violinists,
the premier
Kayla
students.
Bryan and Benjamin Kramer. And they're going to be playing the Bach double along with the orchestra, which is a beautiful piece. And I'm not sure. Of course, Lorraine always waits till the very last moment to decide the rest of the pieces.
That's the creative mind, and it works. We were talking about being unscripted. It just seems to work when it needs to work, right?
Yeah. We give out about 15 pieces of music to the orchestra, and I end up choosing maybe about 11. Then we'll save the rest for the next concert. So I have to kind of go through the music and see which ones are the most playable and sound the best.
And you're also raising money through a great venue. You had violins donated, and they have been painted by beautiful artists from around the country.
Yes. We call it our Painted Violin Project. And during the pandemic, we tried to figure out a way that we could raise some money for the orchestra. So these beautiful violins were donated by the Fiddler Shop in Pompano Beach. He sent to us 12 violins and 1 viola, and we have renowned artists, world-renowned artists, as well as fabulous South Florida artists, and some students that have painted these instruments. They're really incredible. Each one is so unique. I didn't give them any directions on what to do, so they came up with the most fabulous ideas. One is totally beaded. One looks like beautiful flowers. All kinds
we
of
have
designs.
Artists like Yakov
A
Heller,
neon design. Yakov Heller's and his
Dwav,
Larry Dinkins.
Larry Dinkins, who's
Yeah.
And if
He's
people want to be
well-known.
part of the orchestra, you still have openings.
We always have openings. We don't turn anybody away. So
Yeah,
sometimes you sit in the back. You sit in the back of the orchestra. You kind of like air bow a little bit, but then finally, then they really bow the instruments. So it's a lot of fun.
I think it took Lorraine a long time to realize, and I told her that what she does is so much harder than the conductors of even the New York Philharmonic or the Cleveland Symphony Orchestra, because those fellows have people out there who have studied music forever
Right.
and know their music when they sit down. So yeah, they can say, all right, let's bring up the volume a little here, or let's change it. Lorraine has people who sometimes they can only play 3 notes correctly. So she'll say, all right, those are the 3 notes you play.
Wow.
You only play the A, the D, and the G. Everything else you be quiet about. And she can pick out, like she says, she can pick out somebody that's a little off tune and
And we help them
correct
tune.
it.
We're there as a positive experience for everybody. I'm very light and fun about the orchestra, and I'm giving constructive criticisms, and I
So-
like to be positive.
And
the
people
orchestra.
love playing for her because there's no tension. I've seen other conductors and musicians are actually scared. They're afraid, they're afraid if they hit a wrong note, the conductor's going to throw them out of the room.
But yeah, you're not everyone is a well-trained musician. Some are self-taught, some
Right.
come to it with different needs, and here you are bringing this together as an orchestra for their community. So you're absolutely right, Bob. What she's doing takes a whole lot of skill and finesse to bring this together for people
But
to
it
come out
also
here.
takes a whole lot of large heart because she underestimates when she says I don't get much money. I mean, for the first 15 years of this orchestra, she took no salary whatsoever. Just last year, she decided to take a small stipend.
What time? The show was at 3 o'clock.
On Sunday, December 12th.
How do people get information and tickets?
Well, they can visit our website, flioa.org, or they can call our phone number, 561-922-3134, or I think they can get in touch with you, too.
Absolutely. You can always get in touch with
Yeah.
us here at the radio
Thank you.
station, 888-565-1470. You can message us on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe Show. There are a lot of ways to get in touch, and I'm excited because I love kids and I love giving back to the generations. And what you are doing, not only it's about music, but you're giving people hope. And you're giving them something to look forward to and to build the generations and to say, you know what, the holidays are coming. People right now are having a really hard time coming out of the pandemic, mental health wise, to know that on Thursday nights, they may not have family in Florida, but they know they're going to come practice with you, and they've got
Yes.
December 12th to look forward to.
That's right. There's a lot of camaraderie in the orchestra. It's very social and fun. We do other outings together when it's not the pandemic. But, during this concert, we have a visitor from the North Pole.
Oh.
I don't know if you can guess who that is, but...
Oh, Freddie, you coming
But
down from the North
the
Pole?
visitor from the North Pole will be giving out little treats to the children. We have little prizes. Oh, okay. But we also have a raffle at the concert. We have a raffle with lots of nice prizes. So we hope that you'll all come and visit us at the
And
concert.
2 years ago, our last concert, we could say that our orchestra was from the ages of 9 to 101.
Wow.
It was. Our 101 was a triangle player, and he was the best triangle player you could ever
was
have.
Mel
That's that little
Lazarus,
thing you
yeah.
go like this.
Yeah,
triangle.
I
You know
could
what?
do
We have
that.
an opening, Freddie, in the triangle
I
section.
could do. I'm more
Would you
of a
like to?
square, but I
Okay.
can do a triangle.
Well, we have an opening in the triangle section. Actually, if
Yeah.
anybody out there is an expert triangle player or not an expert, I just point to you and you play.
I hit it.
That's
Do
it.
you remember in the 3rd grade they used to give you the flute? It was white and purple.
Ooh.
Yeah,
The
it was,
Do you remember that
recorder?
in New York?
Or you'd have the
They
scraper.
used to give you the flute, the scraper.
You know, the wood
The
scraper.
Guido. not the
Oh,
scraper.
Well, anyway,
with you?
It's called a
so there is
Guido.
an opening for a triangle player right now.
Okay.
Oh, I can do that.
So Freddie,
yeah, but it's hard to replace Mel Lazarus. He was fabulous.
Yeah.
And he would sit right in front of Lorraine. I think he just liked looking
he never
at
read
her.
music. He just looked at me and I told
I
him
could
when
do
to
that.
play. And sometimes he would play when I didn't tell him to play, and that was even better
That's
because
called
he.
an oops.
Well, he was very musical, and it just seemed like he knew when to play, even if I didn't tell him.
He was
Well, you're-
also a master of one-line jokes.
Yeah.
What you're doing is so incredible. Save the date, December 12th, 3 o'clock at Our Lady of Lourdes, the Florida
Gina
Intergenerational.
Presley wants the tickets,
Gina Presser
Yeah.
gave us a call.
but she's very shy to call.
Okay, Gina, she wrote in. All right, they're yours. We will
Nice.
bring them over to the studio. WNN, you can document Gina Presser. 2 VIP tickets to the Florida Intergenerational Orchestra. What you're doing is incredible. I wish you all the best of luck. And please come on out. We're going to be there.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Can't wait.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night. Stay tuned in just
Thank
a few
you.
minutes for Jordana Foster, the Ready, Set, Go Beyond show. Let's find out what the word of the week is going to be. Stay tuned. She'll be right back.
This has been Tell Us Your Business, where a special guest comes on every week and tells us what they do. All shows can be seen on amp2.tv, and if you wish to be a guest, call 866-224-5422 and tell us about your business. That's 866-224-5422. This has been an amp2.tv production.